Okay, so today we're going to be trying to Let's Live at the Red Run Stream Valley Trail. So this is around Owings Mills, Maryland. This is, I don't know, maybe like a mile up from the old Owings Mills Mall. And frankly, never been down this trail before. This is one of those weird trails where you notice it, you pass by it driving by for like years and years, and then you just never go down it for some reason. It seems like a nice trail, seems like a nice, good paved trail, but I have absolutely no idea where it goes because there's no trail map for this thing. So in Maryland, not only do we normally have good trails, but normally they have decent trail maps. There doesn't seem to be any good, decent trail map for this thing, so I'm not really sure where it goes, not sure how long it is. So again, doing our nice little normal adventure thing, wandering out and seeing what it is, seeing what it's like, seeing how many people stare at me. Why is that weird person talking into a camera? Because it's my job. You will not microaggress me. I'm a content creator. Anyways, a person has walked by, so let us look at the nice little beautiful trail here. That's one thing, whenever anybody walks by, I try to take the camera off of them. Because if one thing makes people feel strange, it's when you videotape them. So this is the Wetlands Trail Loop to Boardwalk and Overlooks. What the hell? Like, I literally have no idea where we're going. Like, that's a funny thing. Like, normally, normally when I do these things, I at least have a map. I at least have an idea of where we're going. But I really have absolutely no idea. I have no idea if this is a real park. I have no idea why the trail is here. I have no idea where we're going today. So I'm just going to keep yabbering into the camera, probably for about 30 minutes or so. And then we'll hit the turnaround point and I'll walk back. And that will give us our nice little hour-long video today. Oh, nice little boardwalk. But here's the thing, like for anybody like in Cambodia or Thailand, when I laugh about the quality of parks or whatever, like I say, right here, this is a no-name park. This is a no-name park in the middle of nowhere that nobody cares about. And look how it's constructed. You got a nice wood here. All the wood is nice and solid. Everything is good and very structurally sound. Even if there is some weird clothing here, right? Now, here's why I laugh, like I say, in Thailand or Cambodia. Remember how the condition of that park was in Ayutthaya? So Ayutthaya is like a globally, I mean, that is just an amazing park. That should be like a national icon or whatever. And you saw how all the bridges and everything were falling apart there. And then in Siam Reap in Cambodia, like in Siam Reap, you know, the main city for, again, I mean, a globally renowned park, and things are falling apart. And so this is why I laugh as an American. As you can see, this is the quality of our parks, of our no-name in the middle of nowhere. Even people that live around here don't even stop to look at the park. This is how we keep things up. So again, I know a lot of people get mad at me for being snarky sometimes, but again, it does just show you the difference in how things are, right? Anyways, we'll wander down here and see what's going on. So what I figured I'd talk about today is no one gets out alive. Bum, bum, blah. And again, doing these vlogs, I always try to keep things topical so that it seems to make sense. And why I'm talking about no one getting out alive today is because I found, tragically, apparently one of my buddies from the startup community is now dead. That's fucked up. So I got an email from Ron today. You know, Ron, guy I talk about quite a bit. And apparently one of our old buddies from the startup community is dead. And again, as I always say, you know, distrust, verify, and stay suspicious. So I went out and actually Google searched, and why? Yes, it is. There is a nice little obituary page for the poor guy and everything. And it was a bit of a shock to the system, right? And one of the reasons it was a shock to the system is he was like 31 years old. Uh-oh, is it gonna rain on me? Is it gonna rain? Oh well, that's why we're adventurers. That's why we do Let's Live. A little bit of rain, that doesn't matter. We're men, girls, and boys, and Z's, and ladyboys, and all that. We'll see how I feel about that in a couple of minutes. But anyways, so yeah, so I found out this poor guy apparently had some kind of weird-ass liver condition. And so 31 years old, apparently was on the transplant list, did not get the transplant, and is dead. I do have to say, it's really weird for me, and like to be finally getting to the age, because again, I'm like 2 months shy of being 40. Like, because I've known a lot of people to die in my life. I know it's weird. Like, there's a lot of people out there that apparently don't know a lot of people that have died. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like whole swaths of people have died. But anyways, but what's weird then, though, now, is it's getting to the point that people younger than me are like actually naturally dying. Which I find to be like a kind of like a bit of a bizarre concept, a bit of a bizarre feeling. Because like when you're young, even if people die, like, you know, my uncle died at like 32, but I was like 10 when he died. So although technically he was younger than me than I am now when he died, at the time he was 22 years older. So I was like, oh, that old 32-year-old died. Well, you know, he was 32. Really, you know, what do you expect? So, you know, he was like 32, and then, like, say, my stepfather was like 43 when he died. But that was 20 some odd years older than I was. That was back when I was in my early 20s. But what's weird now is like when you actually start to have people die, like naturally, that are younger than you. And again, not even like, you know, not even like the adventurous stuff. Again, I've known people, you know, you do crazy, wacky things, and things don't always work out right. But again, like kind of like that whole thing of just like the body, like naturally failing you. It's just kind of like this creepy thing. It's just like, oh, right. It really kind of makes you realize that you really only do have so much time on this planet. And one of the reasons why I want to talk about it today is because it's also kind of shows you like the reality of how the world is. Because there's like this idea, especially in the modern American world, I think in the Western world, like there's this idea that we are given 80 years of life, that we will definitely be here 80 years. And so people really plan and they really bet on this concept of 80 years. It's like, it's one of the things that, you know, I talk about before where, you know, people say, well, I'm not going to go backpack through Europe in my 20s. I'll do it when I retire. And yet there's this idea that you are going to be able to retire. When in reality, you have no idea. Because again, whether it's 31 or 41 or 51 or 61, the reality is you could die almost at any time. And there's not necessarily, you don't necessarily know that you're going to be getting, you know, what you consider a full life. And so it's one of those questions that you have to be thinking about is how do you actually want to live your life? And what if you didn't live till 65? What if you didn't live till 55? What if you only got, you know, like I say, 30 years on this planet? Would you, let's see, Walnut Grove Trail Loop. Okay, we'll go down that too. You know, do you want to focus, I don't know, which way should we go? Fuck it, we'll go this way. Do you want to focus all of your life, everything, like I say, on those things like the 401k plan and all that kind of stuff? It's a curious thing to be thinking about, right? Because there's this idea, it's like, well, if we play it safe, if I play it good, if I don't do this adventurous stuff, then I will get, you know, so many years. Again, like some people laughing at me, like going out and going to Thailand or doing wacky stuff. But then the reality is there's this assumption that if you do wacky things, that's dangerous and bad things can happen to you. But if you do quote unquote safe things, that that you should be fine, that you should be good. But you don't normally get that. You don't necessarily get that, right? There's a real chance that you could have a really normal life and then just have, you know, whatever stuff fail you. Again, like I say, this guy, he may have done wacky adventurous things. I don't think so. I think he left a pretty normal life. He was a computer programmer, like I say, working in the startup world. You figure that's the kind of person that would be trucking along for quite a while. And instead, no, Dad is a damn doornail. That chipmunk run away. Run away, chipmunk, run away. So yeah, very weird. I was going to expound upon that more. I don't know really what to expound upon. It's just like that thing. You're sick to sit there and you get this email and you're like, oh, hey, you know that guy you really liked? Yeah, what's going on with him? He's dead. Fuck. Too bad. I thought good things were going to come from him. Really is. And again, that's your whole, you know, it also shows you, like I say, with the startup world, it's just kind of funny. This is like what your real risks and all that are. Because again, you think like, with business, oh, it's your investment, oh, it's whether you can get product to market, oh, it's this, that, or the other thing. Yeah, that's one of the questions. What happens if one of the founders like falls over dead? Didn't that happen with like one of the Oculus founders? Like one of the Oculus founders didn't fall over dead, but like got run over by a car. You're like, son of a bitch. And that is something to be thinking about, like I say, with business and all that. A lot of people don't think about it enough. Like if you're gonna start a business and you're gonna have a partnership with anybody, one of the questions that should be answered, written in a written form, in a contract form, is what happens if somebody dies? I mean, you really got to think about that. Imagine if you're going to go out there and you're going to do the startup company. Let's say you're going to have the next Oculus or the next Facebook or whatever, right? And you're out there like you're the next Google. Like, what would have happened, like, if Larry Page had died in, like, say, 2000? Like, what would happen, right? Again, it's one of those things that you have to think about. I know I was talking with one person. He talked about that with his startup company that he was in, where one of the founders had to get a divorce. Well, here was the thing. The founder of the startup, all their assets were basically tied up in the startup company. Therefore, and this really sucks, basically they ended up having to exit the startup company massively early, because when they got divorced, the ex-spouse demanded her chunk. Her chunk was tied up in part of the company. Therefore, it caused this liquidation event in order for them to be able to pay out the spouse. And again, it's the kind of stuff you don't really think about. But yeah, that's been my thoughts for the day. I've been sitting there thinking about on life and death and all that kind of stuff. And it's really weird with like life and death. It's like the people that you think are gonna live a long time, like you wouldn't put a question mark on them. I say this guy seemed healthy as hell. Like I would have never thought this guy would have keeled over at 31. Like never. There was no part of that. Like if he got hit by a car, I'd be like, okay, well, everybody can get hit by a car. But like the fact that like a body part like failed on him, it's just like, wow. And that's what's really weird, is like the people you look at, you would think would be healthy. Again, I'm not saying they lived till 101, but you figure they're gonna make it till 50 or 60 at least. And they're the ones that keel over. And some of these other people, I guess like, oh my golly, they take such horrible care of themselves. Yeah, they kick along to like 80 or 90 or whatever. Just keep trucking along. And it's one of those things. It's just how life goes. Why? Who the hell knows? You know what I'm saying? And I guess that's one thing that I would ask you folks as you're out there and you're living your life. Is again, there are very self-destructive things that you should work on. Because again, self-destructive things probably aren't good in a lot of ways. But again, there are so many things where people in life, they just try to stay so overprotective. They're just like, oh, I won't do X, Y, or Z because. And you just think about it. And it's like, yeah, but like, what if your liver failed tomorrow? Like seriously, what if your liver failed tomorrow and you hadn't been doing whatever it is you want to do? Like, would that make you feel good? Again, I'm not really sure why most people are on this planet. I've really gotten lost as to why, like, most people feel like they're on this planet. I feel like most people, there's like this weird idea, like there's some kind of like point system. And so at least in the Western world, it's like somehow you earn points by being old. Like, ooh, I got 101 points off this life. The question that I always run into, and the thing that I always wonder, is like what people think that they're actually doing while they're here. Like, why do you think that you're here, right? If there's a spaghetti monster, or your iteration of spaghetti monster, the concept theoretically is that we're here for a purpose, right? I mean, that seems like almost everybody can agree with that, right? It seems like almost everybody can agree, especially at least with the Western religions, that we're all here for a purpose. And yet, what I find so weird is people will scream, they'll yell, and they'll bitch or they'll moan. And again, like I said, the Western folks are all telling me how Buddhism is stupid, I should be a Christian. And yet, I don't understand what most of these like Christians are actually doing in life. Like most of the Christians, and Muslims, and everybody else, it's like they're just like, they're throwing money into their bank accounts, and they're like getting old, as if it's some kind of like point system. It's almost like, like they're playing some kind of video game. The question is like, but what are you actually trying to accomplish while you're here? Like what brings you joy? What brings you happiness? What brings you a sense of fulfillment or whatever else? Which, of course, I'm almost always told, Eli, stop being an idiot, get back into the real world. At which point I look at them and say, well, I'm going to go to my real world. I'm going to go back to my little happy land. I don't know what the hell you people are doing. Right, I actually had that once, right? I was, back when I was dealing with the startup world. And I was saying something about that. Oh, I forget what it was. But I was saying something about, now God knows what. And I thought it was a very, very common sense thing. And then I just remember one of like the old time people in the startup world being like, well, Eli, we need to talk about reality. We need to bring this conversation back into reality. And it was one of those times where I was just like looking at this Facebook screen thinking, what the hell? I never left reality. I was talking about reality. This is completely normal in my reality. I'm not really sure what the hell goes on in your little suckfest of a life. But it is. It is. Again, that's one of the questions. I mean, is life simply about going to work for 40 years to get a pension? Woohoo! It's like, really? I don't know. Doesn't seem like a good bet. This is beautiful out here, though. I do have to say, I'm very happy that we came down this little trail today. Even if this particular conversation is a wee bit more rambling than I thought it would be, this is absolutely a gorgeous area. But again, I mean, like, this is the funny thing. Like I say, when you go to third world countries and you try to explain to people, this is how our trails are asphalted. Like, look at this trail compared to many places in the third world. This is a walking trail, and this is a better built road than many of the roads in third world countries. So again, as I say, when you wonder why folks from the US or whatever laugh or shake their heads or kind of cry in frustration, it's because this is what we're used to. This is what we are used to. But anyways, yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I said, 31-year-old dead. That's kind of crappy. And again, it's too bad too. I didn't really think most of his ideas I thought were kind of fishy. I didn't really like most of his little startup ideas. But he always figured that like there would be that future. Because again, he was young. That's the thing. He's like 31. So if you're, okay, your ideas up until this point haven't been that good. But I'm sure in another I am positive in another 5 years, you'll come up with something amazing. I guess I was wrong there. Guess I was wrong with that. What are you gonna do, though? What are you gonna do? It's funny, my wife asked me if I was gonna go to the funeral. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not good at funerals. Aspies. Leave Aspies away from funerals. Funerals are just a bad place for an Aspie to be. You just have like all these like social norms and things that you're supposed to go by. It's just like, yeah, I'm not really good with those. Whatever I'm not supposed to say, I'm gonna say. You know I'm gonna say it. I know I'm gonna say it. There's gonna be crying. There's gonna be tears. Just right, you know. If somebody is dying, I'm very useful to be there to try to help out that situation. But actually being dead, yeah, no, story's over. Story's over. Good person, great life. I'll let somebody else do the funeral. Yeah, funerals and Eli's just generally don't turn out very well. It's just not a good time. At funerals now, I sit on my hands and keep my mouth shut. That is Eli's goal. My one and only goal at a funeral is to keep my mouth shut. I just sit there, yes. Maybe I'll say maybe I'll say yes. I'll shake some hands. I'll give a little pat of a hug. But otherwise, we leave it at that. Is this the end of the trail? I was really kind of expecting a bit more of a trail than this. This isn't a bad trail. This is rather a trail from nowhere to nowhere. Again, that's one of the weird things, like with trails in the United States sometimes. Because a lot of this is kind of like government largesse. Like somebody's getting their bank account padded. And so like with things like parks, we get so many like trails in the middle of nowhere going to the middle of nowhere. But they're well-built trails in the middle of nowhere. Because that's not that long. Trailers for like biking, walking, jogging. And that's barely a jogging trail. We've been on this trail like 19 minutes. And that's me going at like a snail's pace. Oh well, let's wander over here. It looks like there's some kind of, I don't know, sign over there. Maybe there's another trail over that way. Yeah. It's always interesting to explore your own area of the world. That's a funny thing. Like, you always think you know your own area of the world. Like, you always think, like, oh, it's not worth exploring anymore in this area, because I already know it. And then it's funny. Then you find out how much of your own area you don't actually know. Like, I had no idea this weird little bridge was here. Oops, is this more of a trail? We have might have more of a trail up here. Again, I have no idea. We are exploring. Oh, look at that. We have more of a trail. Wonder what this trail is. Wander up here, see what it is. Got little birdhouses. Birdhouse to my soul, not to put too fine a point on it. Say you're the only bee, I'm the only bee in your bonnet. And little birdhouse in my soul. Okay, connects to Red Run Valley Stream Trail to Soldier's Delight. Huh. Okay, so this is a serpentine trail we've been on before. And this is that Choate Mine trail we've been on. Red Run Trout Transit? Is that what this thing is? So we've done this. So I don't know, maybe this is a trout transit trail. What the hell is a trout transit trail? I don't know. We shall go see. We shall go see what a trout transit trail is. What if there'll be like buses of trout? Can you imagine that? We'll be like walking down the trail, and then we'll see like a bus. Can you imagine that? Like a bus coming down, it'll be like a bus of trout. But get out of the way, this is bus transit trail. Okay, man, or the trout transit trail. Okay, I'm getting out of the way of the trout. Oh, look at that, that's very nice. Very pretty today. So I'm still feeling pretty sick. Well, I'm not feeling horribly sick, I'm feeling better. Been taking NyQuil for like 5 nights in a row. But it's slowly getting out of the system, slowly getting out of the system. I don't have the headache anymore, so I don't really have the sinus thing. I just have that like this thing in the back of the throat. It more feels like just kind of like this weird, like nasty congealed phlegm. So like all day I've been like hacking up like this green mucus. It's absolutely disgusting. Oh, look at that squirrel. So that's been getting a little bit better. Hopefully I'll be done with being sick in the next day or so. Have another night of NyQuil. Getting a little bit better on waking up at a decent time in the morning. So finally last night I got to bed at like 11 or 11:30. Woohoo! That's vaguely normal time, and I woke up at 8:30 this morning. So I was very happy with that, Because again, like you wake up at like 8:30 or 9:30 in the morning, and you don't feel too bad with your life. You don't feel like too much of a schlep. Again, you're waking up at like 10:30, 11:30, 12:30. Like even as an adult, even when I know there's a reason for it, I just kind of feel like a schlep. You just feel like, wow, I am so lazy. I don't know what it is. Just like one of those weird little psychological things in life. So it's nice to be waking up in the morning at a decent hour, 8:30. Beyond that, finally started to be able to actually do some more videos. So I taped 3 question and answer videos for Eli Computer Guy Live today. So I was happy about that. Keep that channel up and going. Again, as I've said before, this is going to be my main focus going forward, but I do plan to keep putting out videos on the other channels for the very greedy reason of they actually make me money. I do like money, and they keep making me money, so I might as well keep doing videos for them. So I did the Eli Computer Guy Live videos today, and then I plan to do the videos on the IX Systems, right? That FreeNAS server. I plan to do the FreeNAS server one tomorrow. So that'll be good. Hopefully put that one out for Eli the Computer Guy channel, and I don't know. My hope is to do like 3 or 4 videos for the Eli Computer Guy channel before we leave. I do have to do some more videos though. Unfortunately, I accepted some of these sponsorship agreements back before I decided to put all my main focus on the Fail Normal. So I still have to do. So I will still be putting out like at least 16 more Eli the Computer Guy videos, simply because people have paid me sponsorships in order to do that. So there's that. That is the one hard thing with like sponsorships in the YouTube world, is you do have to make sure that you're actually going to be doing enough videos to make sure the sponsorships make sense. Because at least for me, how I do it is instead of having folks do single video sponsorships, I have them do like 20 video sponsorships, which again is fine. Like I say, for Fail Normal, I do a video every day. So if somebody sponsored this, 20 of these videos, we just chuck them out in a month. The problem is though, with Eli, the computer guy, I stopped doing so many videos, and so then there's a backlog. And so I've got to do those sponsored videos. So again, one of those things. That's one of the reasons, like with sponsorship and all that, I really tell you folks to, if you're going to do YouTube content creation, you should really hold off on things like sponsorship until you really know what you're doing. Because, you can just get into all this weirdness with the sponsorship thing. So, if the sponsorship doesn't work out how you think it's going to, if the numbers don't work out, if you don't do the videos how you think you're going to do the videos, it all can get kind of wiggly. So that's one reason I would argue, like with sponsorships and all that, you hold off on sponsorships and worrying about sponsorships until you really know what you're doing. Because again, and I know this from experience, when you change the rules on the sponsors midstream, things just get wiggly. Things just don't necessarily go well. And that's just not good for your reputation. Again, remember, as a content creator, you should be trying to build up a reputation, and your reputation should be one of somebody that does what they say they're going to do. And when you don't do that, well, that's not the greatest. And I can say that, because again, like I say, some of the sponsorship things haven't quite gone off how I planned them to. Not nefarious, not for bad reasons, not for nefarious reasons or whatever. Just because I planned to do one thing, and then things went sideways, or things took a left, or things took a right. That's one thing. Is one of the weird things too with sponsorships is nobody ever wants a refund, which is a real pain in the ass, real fucking pain in the ass. Because that's one thing. Like when you accept money, and then you figure, if it doesn't go how I planned it to go, then I'll just give people a refund. That makes life pretty easy, because it's like, okay, well, I'll give them as much as possible, and then if something doesn't work out, we'll amortize the payments and give them a refund. But here's a weird thing, like you find with sponsorship, and that's like the thing with sponsorship money, is they just want to spend the money. They literally do not want the money back. So if they write you a check, you got to give them something of value. Because I tell you, I have tried to give money back in the past, and it is the biggest pain in the ass. It is a shocking pain in the ass to try to give sponsorship money back. You're like, look, things went a little cockeyed, things went different than how that I expected, so I'm going to give you your sponsorship money back. But we don't want our sponsorship money back. Okay, but I'm not doing what you paid for the sponsorship for, but we don't want it back. Give us something. I don't really have anything to give you. Give us something! Like, okay, I wanted to give you money. Oh, we don't want money! Give us something other than money. Fuck. It really is. It really is, can be a bit difficult. So I wonder where we're at now. Now we're getting off the beaten, the normal trail, walking into the woods. And again, so this is Soldier's Delight area. So this is part of the park we're normally on. I just have literally no idea where. It's kind of cool. I hope it doesn't rain on me. You see how dark those clouds look? So it's starting to get a little dark. You can feel that cold air moving in. It's one of those times when you're sitting, when you're thinking, in about 15 minutes, I'm going to remember talking to the camera right now, and I'm going to think, darn, why did I not turn around back then? I'm like, oh, because you were trying to be cool. You were trying to be all manly out in the woods. Oh, look at that. It is funny, like you come out here in Maryland, that's a cool thing with Maryland being an old area, is you get to see all this stuff that was just like tossed like 50 years ago. So again, all of this area used to be farm, like really, like real farms. And so that's an old plow. It's kind of weird that was just tossed here. Oh, I think I know where we're at actually. So if that's there, I vaguely know where we're at. That's kind of cool. Got a nice little trail down there by the stream. Maybe I'll go down by the stream. Yep. So anyways, sickness is slowly going away. my wife and I are planning out the trip for a couple weeks, right? It's amazing to think about. It's only about 2 weeks away, and we'll be taking off in the travel trailer. So our first stop should be Ohiopyle, up in the Laurel Highlands, Pennsylvania. So that'll be our first stop, and that should be pretty fun. And then after we go to Ohiopyle, then we're going to go down to Shenandoah National Park. That's down in Virginia. That should be a good time, so we'll be there for a week. And then after we go to Shenandoah, then we'll be going down to the Smoky Mountains. Smoky Mountains are absolutely awesome. Of course, you will see lots and lots of video of the Smoky Mountains when we're down there. And then past that, then we have to decide whether we're going to Charleston, South Carolina, or I think Hilton Head. Ooh. Can you hear the thunder? Oh. That's some nice thunder right there. Anyways, we'll do a little bit more walking, then we'll turn around. So then we'll go to either Charleston, South Carolina for a week. There's a nice little trailer park, like right off to the side, in a nice, beautiful like county park area. Or we'll go to Hilton Head. Wife wants to go to Hilton Head because apparently there's lots of nice bicycling there. So I'll do one or the other. So that'll be a nice little trip right there. Be a nice little month when I say we'll go out, then we'll come back. It is weird though. My wife and I have decided we are actually going to truly pre-plan this trip, and we're even going to do the unthinkable thing of booking out our travel trailer spots before we even leave. We haven't done that before. But since we know we have a month, and since we basically know where we're going, we've decided that we're going to have to be a little bit more adult about things. And that's one of the things that changes, like as you get a little bit older, is there's just these little things, like I would have never done in the past. Like I never, ever in the past did much planning at all. Again, all I would know is I was leaving one day, and I was coming back a different day. Now as you get a little bit older, you start to do things like plan out trips. Again, it's not really that one way is better than another way. There's just a difference. I think the difference with getting older, especially with travel, is you're not quite so manic to see things. Like when you're younger, there's much more this need or this feeling that you have to see a lot. Like I have to, like how many countries I've been to, or how many, that sounds like a lot of rain, how many places I've been to. Oh crap, what was I saying about like in 15 minutes? I'm not sure it's been 15 minutes yet. Oh well, we'll run back to the car. It's a 33-minute mark, so it's time to run back. But that's the thing, like when you're younger, there's much more of this feeling of, I've got to see all of these places. Like there's an idea that number of places, really matters. And then we start to realize, like as you go and see more and more places, is that basically people, more or less, really are all the same. I know that's like heretical to say anymore, but really what I found, like when you deal with like Indians and we deal with Cambodians, and even when you deal with Americans and French people and all that kind of stuff, by and large, where are we going? Most people are generally relatively the same. They all have basically the same hopes. They basically have the same desires. They have just have a bit different viewpoints to how they want to get there. And so that's the thing, like as you travel more and more and more, you see how so much is basically the same kind of stuff. And so then there's not so much need to run out and see 1,000 different things. You get more comfortable with the idea and going out and really experiencing like one or two. So I think that's my hope going into the future. Like now, basically the way my wife and I are planning it is that when we travel, we'll basically plop down for a week at a time wherever we stop. And then honestly, as we start to go with this whole fail normal thing, I'm thinking more along the lines of that an entire trip, like an entire month-long trip, should revolve around a specific area. So, let's say we go to France, so we find someplace cool in France, and we spend a month more or less there, right? Because then you get to feel the overall experience, you get to explore all the little nooks and crannies and things, and you don't spend so much time traveling. Because that's one thing you also realize as you get older, is traveling kind of sucks, right? You know, you think about it, like every time you hop on an airplane, every time you hop on a minibus, I mean, that's an entire day of basically you sitting in a vehicle going from point A to point B. So like even with us, with this whole week, we'll be staying places for a week at a time. But that means like every week, you gotta hook up the travel trailer to the truck, you gotta disconnect the whole travel trailer, you gotta move the travel trailer from point A to point B. It really takes up a lot of time, energy, and money. And that's one thing for any of you young folks to be thinking about, if you're thinking about like traveling and seeing the world and all that kind of stuff. One thing that I just will warn you, because again, there is this idea of like traveling, like numbers, like the more places you see, the better. But one of the things I will tell you is actual traveling eats up a ton of money. Traveling and transportation is like the most expensive component to any kind of like adventuring. So like when we have the travel trailer, once we plop the travel trailer down somewhere, it's somewhere between $25 to $50 a night to keep it there. So that's actually relatively affordable when you think about it. Like if you spend a month in a lot of these RV parks, if you stay a month in an RV park, you can normally stay there for anywhere between like $400 to $600. All right, that's not too bad. Well, but what we have to think about is when we hook the travel trailer to the truck, the truck gets 10 miles to the gallon with the travel trailer on it. So you figure if gas even right now is $3 a gallon. That means that you only get 10 miles for every $3, right? So to go 100 miles costs $30. To go 300 miles is going to cost you about $100. So if you figure if you're going to go on a travel trailer adventure, then not only do you spend a day driving somewhere, but then basically every day you drive, you literally burn through $100. And the same is true even if you're not hauling a travel trailer. Like when we were traveling around, Thailand and all that kind of stuff, basically whatever kind of transportation that you're going to take burns through an amount of money. So one thing to be thinking about, again, I tell you folks what I'm doing in life, and I don't necessarily expect everybody out there to do it. Like there is this kind of like snarkiness by some people. They're like, oh, well, I'm glad you can do what you're doing, but not everybody in the world can. At which point, I just want to grab the people by the scruff of the neck, look them in the eyeball, and want to tell them, explain to them what it's like to travel cross country in a Greyhound. Because guess what, boys and girls? Eli has traveled cross country in a Greyhound. I've traveled cross country in a Greyhound. I've traveled cross country in a car that had no right going out of the state. I've traveled cross country many, 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 many different ways. So right now, yes, I am 40 years old. I'm a successful technology professional. I have made money. Therefore, I use my F-150 and my nice little travel trailer and go in style. But again, that's because I can. I'm not saying that's what everybody can do. And again, what you can do now isn't necessarily what you can do in the future. The important thing is just that you get out there and you get into a pattern. So like for me, I have always had the pattern, going out there and traveling and adventuring and seeing what's around the corner. So when I had no money, I hopped a Greyhound bus. Or I went to, when I did my backpacking trip through India, 4 months, including all the beer I could drink at the time, because I still drank beer, including airfare internal to the country. So once I landed in Mumbai, from when I left Mumbai 4 months later, that cost me $2,400, travel and all that included. Again, $10 a night to backpack through India. So again, for me, the importance is going out there and adventuring and exploring and seeing what's around the corner. And then, that being the priority, I then look at what my bank account can pay for, and then we decide and what style we shall go. But again, the important thing to understand is, because I know I get like some of these snarky people like, oh, well, must be nice to do what you're doing, but not everybody can do it the way that you're doing. And I'm like, motherfuckers, it wasn't that long ago I couldn't do it the way that I'm doing right now, right? But I still did it back then. And like I say, you can do India for $10 a day. You can do Thailand for $10 or $15 a day. You can also do it for a lot more. Again, the real thing isn't like what your bank account is. It's what you're willing to go out there and do. Again, like if anybody out there like had this idea of doing Let's Live videos, right? They're sitting there and they're thinking, wow, what Eli's doing is so cool, right? You know, he's going out there, he's doing these Let's Live videos, he's exploring the country. Damn, man, damn, I wish I could do something like that. But I don't got enough money for an F-150, right? I don't got enough money for a travel trailer. Look at him, he's talking about, you know, $25 a night for an RV park. I can't afford that. And again, here's the thing, I'm not saying you can't afford that, but you can afford something, right? You know, you get an old minivan, you pick up a minivan for $5,000, you tune it up so you can get about 40,000 more miles of driving out of it. And guess what? You now have your RV. Does it have air conditioning? No. Does it have a toilet? Well, no. Does it have a big screen TV? No. But it's an RV, right? You can take it out in the middle of the boondocks. You can beat the ever-living crap out of it. You can sleep in the back. You can have all your food and all your cooking stuff and all that kind of thing. And it's something that most people can afford. Again, I mean, there's a lot of people out there, you know, traveling around. Oh my golly. Oh my golly, it's raining. It is raining. Anyways, there's a lot of people out there, you know, go traveling around and they're doing it with, they're doing it intense. You know what I'm saying? You go out there, you have your 15-year-old, you know, Toyota Celica or whatever. You throw a tent in there and you can go out and you have all kinds of wacky ass adventures. Again, even with things like with Wi-Fi now, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, you don't get the comforts of home. But it's amazing, like how many like of these little camping places have things like Wi-Fi, or you can even have your, oh my God, oh, it's cold rain too, man, it's cold rain. I'm sick. This is probably stupid. This is probably stupid. Oh well, it's adventure. It's adventure. This is how you know Eli's hardcore. Oh, this isn't too hardcore. Walking around in the United States in a cold rain, you know, isn't exactly the most adventurous thing in the world. But I'll claim it. I'll claim it. Eli's hard. As I hack up a lung. Okay, I'm not saying it's hardcore. Probably is slightly stupid though. Come on, you gotta give me this is slightly stupid. Me being out here in a cold rain when I'm still trying to hack up a lung. Who needs Louis Rossman as an enemy? You've got Eli as your friend. Anyways, right? But that's the thing, like with a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, you know, I can't do what you're doing. But again, realistically, I mean, you can functionally do a lot of what I'm doing. You just have to do it at a different, you have to do it at a different budget. You have to do it at a different price point. But that's the important thing. Like, if you have passion for doing something, then you're gonna go out there and do it. That's one of the reasons why I hate this whole thing with passion. This is passion anymore. Especially with my other channels, everybody talks about passion. Eli, this is what I have passion to do. This is what I have passion to do. But then everybody explains to me why they can't do it. Eli, I have passion to be a computer repair professional. At which point I groan, because that's not really professional. Like computer repair, unless you're doing what Louis does, which I will give him credit. Unless you're doing what Louis does, like computer repair is basically, that is kind of like a crappy little sub-niche of a system admin job. It's like one of the components to actually being a professional. One of the skill sets of an actual professional. But anyways, I have passion, but I can't do it. And you're like, yes you can. No I can, Eli, you don't understand. Where I live in the world or whatever, we don't have the opportunities you do there. It's like, well, it's not necessarily about the opportunities. And again, you know, like, there's a difference between doing what you're passionate about and getting paid a chunk of money and simply doing what you're passionate about, right? So, I mean, if you're passionate for computer repair, you're passionate for whatever you're doing, again, it's just go out there and do it. Will you have all the tools that I do? No. Will you have all the resources I do? No. Will you get paid that I do? No. But apparently you have passion to do it, right? And so you got to go out there and you got to do it. Like so many people, like, I have a passion for computer repair, but there's no opportunities. It's like, well, is your grandmother's computer broken? Well, yeah, but that's my grandmother's computer. Is your mom's computer broken? Well, yeah, but is your church's computer broken? Yeah, but is the Boys and Girls Club in your area, does their computer lab function properly? Yeah, but. Right, it's all but it's not passion. It's just you're a lazy fuck that is looking for a stupid excuse for why you can't do something, right? That's how most of these people are. And so that's the thing to think about. It's like if you actually have passion, that's why I hate the word passion, because people talk about passion. It's like, look, I don't know if I'm passionate about travel and adventure and all that. Again, when I say passion is one of those stupid ass words. But here's the deal. I always do it. From the time I was 18 years old, I was hopping in some wacky ass vehicle and going somewhere. And again, whether it was in a Toyota, like a 10, 11-year-old Toyota Tercel with a busted ass CV joint, and I will admit, it's not as cool, it's not as hardcore as it sounds, because the CV joint is this joint that basically keeps the front tire connected to the axle. So I'm not quite as hardcore as you may think. Mainly being, I didn't know what the CV joint was at the time. I didn't actually know what a CV joint was. I just knew something up there was squeaking really bad. Fuck it. But anyways, I went cross country with a Toyota Tercel, all my crap in that thing, with a busted ass CV joint. Then when I finally took it to a mechanic a year later, literally said, I don't know how the tire didn't fall off your car, or the wheel fall off your car. But I went there, and I had no plan. I just went. And that's when I had the adventure of Modesto, California. Again, it's not the kind of adventure that most people hear about in life. Like most people that go to California, they go to Los Angeles, or they'll go to San Francisco, or they go to Berkeley. Oh no, me, Eli, what was my kind of adventure? My kind of adventure was winding up in the middle of Modesto, California, working at the most right-wing gun shop that you have ever been to in your life. It's kind of right-wing gun shop where you sit there and one of the people goes, oh look, you can tell this gun that we're refinishing was used in an execution, because you can see how these stains here, that's the blood spatter from where the blood would have popped out of the guy's head when his brains were blown out. Yeah, it's one of those kind of places. Like, what? Learned a lot of good lessons there. But again, not the normal adventures you have. But anyways, I traveled there. I worked in a wacky ass right-wing gun shop, learning about how United States arms shipments and all that actually operate. Very curious, right? Then I came back, and then I went back, and then I Greyhound out to California one time, and I came back to the military thing. Then I went off to Seattle, find my fortune. That didn't go so well. I tried backpack through Europe, and I backpacked through India, and backpacked through Thailand, Turkey, and all kinds of wacky ass places. And that's the thing, right? Sometimes my budget was awesome. Sometimes I was in the money. I'm in the money. Oh yeah, I'm in the money. And then other times I was like, fuck. There was no money. Like, money? I wish I had money. I don't have any money. But I still did it, right? That's passion. That's going out there and doing it. So I think that ties in pretty well, though, with the whole idea of a 31-year-old falling over dead from something happening to his liver. Because again, there's this whole idea of Eli, I would do what you're doing, Eli. I have a passion to do what you're doing, Eli. I want to get out there and I want to adventure and I want to travel and I want to see the world. But Eli, what you have to understand is, Eli, I need X, Y, or Z. And I was like, okay, well, I don't need to understand that. I don't really care. Because I'm going to be out here doing whatever I'm doing, right? What you need to understand, that's what's funny too. Like whenever I do all this, whenever I do like the mentorship thing, like so many people are like, well, Eli, what you need to understand is. So I don't need to understand anything. I'm telling you how I've gotten this stuff done. I'm telling you how I have accomplished X, Y, and Z. So what you have to understand is what I'm explaining to you. I don't have to understand a damn thing about what you're saying, because it don't matter. I'm telling you how to get it done. You're telling me why you can't do it. Who needs to understand who, right? One of the big things, though, is that's the thing. It's like, oh, you don't understand. And it's like, well, what you need to understand is you are guaranteed nothing. You are guaranteed no amount of life. You're sitting there 25 years old, and you're like, well, Eli, what you need to understand is I'm going to work my ass off until I get 30. And then I'll be able to do whatever. It's like, yeah, but what if you die at 29? Right? I always, there was an old drill sergeant I had, real Rambo-looking guy, and that's one thing he always talked about. Oh, what did he say? He lived his life as if he would die tomorrow, but planned as if he'd live till 80. And it was a really interesting idea. And basically what his idea with it was that you plan as if you're going to live till 80, right? So you put your money in the 401k plan. I know I give crap about 401k plans, but again, like 401k plans are good. I am not snarking on 401k plans. You should definitely, absolutely have a 401k plan. I'm just saying, what is your priority in life? There's a difference between putting your 10 or 15% into a 401k plan because it's a wise idea, and putting your 15% into the 401k plan and acting as if this is your entire point for being on the planet, right? I would argue you just dump it in. But anyway, so you put your money into the 401k plan and all that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, when you go out there and you're gonna go live, and you have options and you have opportunities, you take them now, because again, you have no idea if you're gonna have tomorrow. You have no idea, what's gonna happen past the next week or anything like that, right? I think about that. There was this one guy that I knew, one of these really adventurous type people, right? He'd go out there and he'd do all this wacky stuff. I mean, like really the type of stuff where his family members would be at home, all like fucking like biting their nails. They're like, oh, this time he took it too far. This time he's done too much. Like truly, like one of these people, all this person's life, they were adventurous and going out there and just doing all that kind of wacky stuff where bad things happen to people, right? And he'd come out the end, drink his beer and be like, yeah, this bastard, right? And this is the real world, right? So everybody's like, oh my God, I remember so many times. You're like, oh no, what if something happens to him doing X, Y, or Z? And he'd go out there and he did X, Y, or Z. Nothing happened. Nothing bad. Didn't even have a freaking broken leg. Didn't have a broken leg. Maybe had like a sprained ankle. Like nothing. Like do all this wacky stuff. Come back perfectly fine. Not even a damn paper cut on. Then the poor bastard goes out. Like this dock, right? He had a dock where the boat pulls up to. So, gonna go do a little maintenance on the dock. And some back cave stuff here. But basically one thing led to another and done. Motherfucker. just done. Just over. Game over. Game, set, score, match, whatever. And that was a funny thing. Like, it was not funny, but it is like the weird thing to show you. Like, again, this person, like doing all this adventurous, wacky, crazy stuff. And then what at the end of the day gets him? Literally what gets him at the end of the day is when he goes down to just do some like handyman work on his own dock. Like, damn. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? People are all worried about you going out there doing all this wacky, crazy stuff. And then essentially, you're going up to paint a ceiling or something, and you trip and fall over and kill yourself. So you gotta think about. One of my bosses was like that. That poor bastard. He was one of these computer geeks, and that was one of the things, right? He was up there, he was doing all the build out stuff. He was all cool, super geek, and he was up on a ladder in the server room, and so the ladder slipped, right? So he fell and he hit his head. Oh no! I take him to the hospital, see if he has a concussion. They do a scan of his brain. Hey, look, you don't have a concussion. Yay! You do have a brain tumor. A big old nasty ass brain tumor. Again, like 2 or 3 years later, dead, done, over. Just like, damn, right? I just thought, well, Eli, I know what you're saying. I'll do it in 10 years. I'll do it in X, Y, or Z. That's the thing. You don't get that bet. You don't get that game. Yeah, like I say, I think about this 31-year-old, and I have to think about all the people that I know that would have kicked off by 30. He would not have even been on the list. It's like top 10, top 20, top 50. Nah, not even top 100. Not even top 100. I would have figured he would be kicking back 80 years old. Nope, dead. Oh well, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. The question is, as I always will reiterate, what kind of life do you want when you go off to the next world, the next whatever? What do you want to look back on this as? That's what I don't understand with so many people. Again, so many people, it's like they have this idea that, like, again, it's money or years or whatever else. Like, if I have so many years, and you don't even get that. It's not even like you get that option. It's not even like you know, like, okay, if I do all the good, proper things, I'll get 50 years or 100 years. Because you think about that, like even like with the Japanese tsunami, that's one of the images that I always keep in my head is I was watching, and they had this footage of the tsunami and the wave like rolling over this farmland, this country area, and there was like this one like little like Yugo type car. And you could tell, you know, it's like this person, this little Yugo type car, driving in the country, you know, just driving the nice, beautiful country. And there weren't any, it was really weird, like there weren't any other cars around the person at all. And then just guy just driving along. You can see this fucking wave. And there's no more car. And you gotta think about that. Was that person worried about their cholesterol? Was there a person wondering about, you know, the biopsy test for cancer or whatever? What was that person worried about as the tidal wave just washed over his car, their car? Right? Again, I don't know. It's one of those things to be thinking about. One of those things to be thinking about. So it should be getting close again. It should be getting close. It is always weird. It's always weird when you walk anywhere, especially when you go out and back again, is it always feels like it's much quicker to go out. Like even though I know it's 30 minutes, so we walked 33 minutes one way, and we're coming back, I guess, 33 minutes. But it seems like it takes longer to get back. I don't know what it is. Maybe since you've already seen it before, there's not the same, I don't know, not the same urgency, not the same curiosity or something. Do not know, do not know. Oh well, the rain stopped, that's nice. Hopefully by the time I get home, I'll be nice and dry, so my wife won't give me too many nasty looks. That's always with wives, when you're sick, they always like giving you nasty looks. They're always like, why are you out there getting wet in the rain? I thought you were sick. You're like, I am sick. They're like, well, why are you getting wet in the rain? Because I'm a boy. I'm a boy. What do you want me to say? There's nothing more to say. So what else is going on today? What else is going on today? I still got a few more minutes to talk to you folks. But yeah, not too much else. Like I say, getting the travel trailer. Like I say, I'm a little worried about the travel trailer since I didn't winterize it properly. But we'll see how that goes. I opened up all the drains and everything, so hopefully the everything did get pushed out. But you always have to worry that something cracked. There's nothing more hilarious or depressing than seeing the entire bottom of a travel trailer get flushed out when something breaks. I've seen that a couple of times. Hope it doesn't happen to me. No, you'll be like these travel the RV park. You'll just be sitting there, you'll be drinking your little coffee in the morning, and you'll just see like the entire bottom of a travel trailer. You'll see it like buckle for like half a second, and then boosh, and like gallons of water go everywhere as like the bottom falls out. So I hope that doesn't happen. So I hope that doesn't happen to us. But if it does, I guess it'll be an adventure. The one nice thing about going to nice RV parks is even if something like that does happen to you, they do have toilets and showers and all that for you to use. So that's a nice little benefit. But then my wife would still be very sad. Like, whoa. So I don't know. But yeah. I think that might be about all I know. I think that might be about all I know. So this is the River Run Valley Trail. It seems like a nice little trail. Again, nice little run. I have no idea how long the walk is. But if you're in this area, you might want to check it out. Because the cool part is, like, so when it started raining way at the end, that is Soldier's Delight. So that means you could go from here, from this parking lot, all the way down this trail, basically. And then once you're in that park, you could go around all those other trails. So you could tie this in, and I don't know, maybe even make this into like a 10-mile hike, if you really wanted to. And anyways, so there we go. That's a thought for today. That's the thought for the day. Don't have anything else for you. So I will just keep the camera on as we walk up to the car, just to kind of finish this all out. See you guys tomorrow. So yeah, my plan is, Eli never stops talking. Eli, stop talking. Ridiculous. Anyways, so I think my plan is to do like 5 fail normal videos per week. And I think that is basically my plan, because I was talking about that when I did the last video. So my thought is, more or less, that I tape one video Monday through Friday, which means the videos will actually come out Tuesday morning through Saturday morning. So I think that's basically how we'll do it. Because again, I mean, five videos a week, and that's 20 videos a month, 20 hours of footage a month. I think that's pretty good, on top of the other videos that I do. So that's a good number without, I think, being too much overload. Because you do have to worry a little bit about overload. Like, if you put out too many videos, then people just don't watch them all. So that's not a good thing. So yeah, that's my thought. That's my thought. So anyways, with that, we are officially at the end. And I will talk to you folks tomorrow.